Okay, so today's pepper review is going to be on the Carolina cayenne. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the Carolina cayenne. Now, you might be looking for seeds online for this, and you're kind of wondering a little bit about it. Is there anything special about it as opposed to the normal cayennes, which are like, say, those back there? See them hanging? Which are just basically normal cayennes. That's generally what you're going to get, that basic profile. Carolina cayenne is a little bit different. It has a different phenotype, and the plant is generally looks like all the other pepper plants, but definitely the pepper itself is very different from your regular standard pepper. So let's take a look at the plant. We're in middle of October right now, so it's kind of hard to say what the profile is like. So I'll go through it pretty quickly, and then we'll pick a pepper and do a taste test. But we're really losing all the leaves. It's really not displaying itself very well. So it's not the best in the world example, but this will give you an idea of what you should expect when you grow this plant when you buy seeds. So it's generally a regular leaf type, just like any other pepper plant. It's nothing special about the leaf type itself. There's no purpling in the stem other than at the nodes, as you can see right here. There's some purpling there. Now, this plant will probably get to around 24 inches, maybe 3 feet. If you let it grow outside and you put it in really good soil and take care of it, it'll probably get quite big for you. It's not that big in here because the soil was bad this year and my plants really stunted out, but it's still good enough for me to be able to do a review on the pepper and give you an idea of what it, at least it looks like and what it tastes like. So here's a pepper on the plant right now, and you can see it's very different looking than your typical cayenne. You can see the shape of that thing. Okay, now that's not a regular cayenne. This thing has definitely got something different going on with it. I'm probably going to pick all 3 of these and bring them in and try to get seed from this. And we can grow these next year from these seeds, and hopefully we get a better stock quality out of it. It'll grow a little better, a little taller, that kind of a thing. So it'll be climatized by then. But yeah, this plant here is probably around 2 feet, and I would imagine this plant will get much bigger. It's just kind of stunted. I can tell by its growing pattern, even though it's small, it'll get much bigger. So let me pick these, actually. Let's pull these off. We only got maybe another week at best before all these plants completely die and get frosted off. So all this is going to have to get picked eventually anyway. I mean, they're all coming in now, all my peppers, and it's already late in the year, and I really got to start picking them. It's just I'm waiting to the last minute because some of these are very hard to get to because I let some of these wild tomato plants grow wild, and I did that because I wanted to create competition among the plants so the pepper plants will really, really grow. So I do tend to do that from time to time, but I really got to get in here and start really getting these peppers off these plants. And that means I got to get out here and do more reviews, which means I got to eat more peppers. And I do eat peppers every day. It's just, it starts to get to you after a while when you eat that many of them. Anyway, so this is the Carolina cayenne. This is what it looks like. I'll try to give you a good view of this, because these are actually quite different, and I like peppers and fruits that look very different. So you can just grow them anywhere and identify it just by its look, rather than there are so many peppers out there that grow and look exactly alike. There's no way to tell one from the other. So I do like when you get these different shapes that are very unique to that pepper, a very different identifier to it. And that way you don't have to label it. You could kind of just start growing things all over the place, wild, kind of like what I do, and not worry about having to label it and stuff. You'll know what it is based on its shape and phenotype and things like that. So anyway, this is what it looks like. And very unique in shape. Now color is kind of orange in the beginning. It goes from a green to an orange and then of course red like this one. But it's not red. It's kind of like orange. I'm sure if I left it on there a really long time, it'll eventually turn dark red, just like pretty much everything else does when you leave it on. But I think these are good enough for seed on this particular variety, and I should be able to get good healthy seed from it. So let's turn you around and give it a taste test. Alright, so we're doing a taste test today on this pepper, and it is called the Carolina Cayenne, and it's very different than all the other cayennes that I grow, and I grow quite a few cayennes and different upright peppers, and the shape is very different, and you can see what it looks like. Now, do I got another cayenne that I can show you? A normal cayenne is kind of like a long, pointy, tipped type of pepper, whereas this thing, you'll notice on the end right there, you can see how it's blunted. See how the end looks on it? And then it kind of gets long and then gets this weird shape to it. It's kind of large for a cayenne, because normally cayennes are about maybe a third of that thickness of this thing. It's hard to grasp the size of this. I'm trying to hold you back. It's kind of a long pepper. It's very interesting looking shape. I'm really interested in this. It's not a regular cayenne. I can tell you that right now. It is definitely different. How hot this is going to be, I have no idea. I'm hoping it's not as hot as the yellow cayenne, because the yellow cayenne is very, very, very hot. And it really upsets my stomach, and it's harder and harder for me to do these taste test reviews on these raw peppers. But in some senses, I'm getting acclimated to the heat on these peppers, but in another sense, it just takes a toll on you after a while. After a while, it's like you eat one and you cramp right up immediately. It's like your body's like saying, I don't want this, you know? And some people it does that too. Some people, I guess it doesn't. With me, the more I eat of these really, really hot peppers, the more I tend to cramp up and stuff like that. It's not even the heat in the mouth. It's after I eat it. It's what it does to you down the road. That's the part that really gets me. And I'm not just talking about, going to the bathroom and it burns. I'm talking about the cramps that you get in your stomach. And you just feel awful. It's an awful feeling that you get afterwards. And it's just, I really don't like that at all. But it is what it is. So anyway, let's give it a bite and let's see how devastating or nice it is. And let's try and describe that flavor for you. So a lot of times when I'm eating these, I chew them and I let it sit for a minute in my mouth until like the juices come out and the heat starts coming out, and I swallow that. And that'll tell me right away if I'm going to start getting hiccups. It's not that big if I'm getting hiccups, but that's an indication to me of how hot something can be. When I bit this thing, it had a very acidic type of an effect to it, very tangy flavor. Not unpleasant, but very tangy. It could be that it's late in the season, so it's kind of doing that, but it was very tangy. The flavor of it tastes kind of like a cayenne flavor. I don't know, something different about it. It has a nice aftertaste on the back of your tongue. It sticks around a little bit. Very nice tasting pepper. The kind of pepper that I like. This is the kind of pepper I like my salsas to taste like. I like that flavor from this pepper. For me, it also would make a really good hot sauce. That flavor, that's perfect. You can't go wrong with that. Now, my mouth is really salivating, so it does have that effect on me. But the heat is strange. It wasn't terribly hot, but I'm not all the way up the entire pepper. The heat wasn't very terribly hot. I would say the heat was probably somewhere around 1,000. It's definitely over there. The interesting thing is it's burning the end of my tongue and almost going under the tongue a little bit right now, which is not very common. I don't get that a lot from peppers. It's kind of curling under the tongue, but not all the way under the tongue. It's just the very tip of it underneath it. I usually don't get that effect. It was kind of like watery not gushy though, but like watery. So when I bit it, it kind of released a lot of its moisture right away. And that moisture has the heat in it. So I had that effect. And then the flavor, like I told you, was very smooth. It's a very nice pepper. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is a very, very nice cooking pepper. Not everybody always wants to eat Reapers and Scorpion type of heat and just burn yourself until you're crying on, you know, every level. Some of us like to be able to enjoy peppers. I really look a lot for that certain flavor that you can kind of do a lot of different things with it. You can make salsas, you can hot sauces, mix it with your meats, you can cook them on a grill, you can eat them in your salads, you can just anything like that. You can dry them out. This is the kind of pepper, if you dried it out, man, that would taste good. Because a lot of times when you dry these peppers out, now that I'm noticing, I'm doing more drying out peppers this year and next year, and you know, I didn't really do it that much before. I usually either ate them or sold them, but now that I'm drying peppers out, I'm getting a really good flavor. You can keep it in a container, it doesn't get moldy. It's a nice way to grow these peppers and then store it long term and just use it as you need it. Yes, you will, if you grow as many as I do, you will end up with a lot more than you'll probably want to end up with. I mainly grow these for seed and for the powder, and I do like to eat these raw and test them and taste them, and eventually I'm going to be working on my own hot sauce to see if I can get that combination right that worked for me, that flavor that I'm looking for. It's very hard for me to find that flavor, but I am getting closer, and this is one of those peppers I definitely like to work with. Definitely want to grow this a little more. I definitely want to experiment with this. Like I said, the heat was so far wasn't terribly hot. The heat was kind of, like I said, 1,000, but I could picture this going up to 10,000. I picture this going up to 10,000, surpassing the jalapeno, no problem. This is that kind of pepper where it would get really, really hot on you. So far, I just took a bite off the end. I'll take another bite. It's very seedy. I really want to save these seeds more than anything right now. Even though I have the other pepper, it's always good to save is more than you probably are ever going to use when you're trying to start out. Because a lot of times you might save seeds, and you'll find out you get no sprouts from them. Don't ask me why. You might, out of 100 seeds, you might get one that sprouts. So it's sometimes a good idea to make sure you got more than you would normally plant. Let me take another bite. It's got a very nice flavor. That's all I can tell you. As far as like what exactly does it taste like? It tastes like a cayenne. Has a very nice peppery flavor. It might want to be on the spicy side. And when I say spicy, I'm not talking about the heat. I'm talking about it's going to stick around in your palate for a while, in the back of your throat. That's what I mean by spice when I say spice. Whether that's the correct definition or not, I don't know. My definition of spice is when that either repeats itself or it's just in your mouth and you taste it a while after you eat it. To me, that's spicy. Not the heat. Heat, to me, is something different. It does have a heat that attacks the very tip of your tongue, really. A little bit on the back of the throat, like where the tonsils are. A little bit there. Outside of that, beautiful. It's a gorgeous pepper. You could eat these things all day long, and you're not going to, like, upset your stomach or anything like that. These are very, very nice peppers. I really like this a lot. I will definitely be growing these next year. That's about it. I mean, I can't really think of anything else to say about it other than I told you what the heat was. I told you what it tastes like. Again, it tastes like kind of like a cayenne. It's just not very strong in flavor. I think that's what I wanted to say. Something like, I'm trying to remember. It's not terribly strong in flavor. It's got a nice mild flavor, but then the aftertaste kind of kicks in. You taste it afterwards. Yeah, that's your Carolina cayenne. I definitely recommend growing this. I really like the taste of it. It's a very nice pepper. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you at the next one. Take care.